Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'een. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladina an'amta alayhim. Ghair maghdubi alayhim. Wala dwalin. Alhamdulillah. Dr. Sanada Kamara, co-founder of Temple Mother Earth, sending love, peace, and abundance prayer to everyone around the world.
Welcome to Magnets, Crystals, and Pyramids. Success is your destiny. Yes. Love, wisdom, power. Remember, always who you are. Yes. Yes. I am love, wisdom, power. Yes. Yes. I am love, yes, power. Yes. I am love, yes, I am love, wisdom, power. Yes, yes, I am wisdom, power. Master. Yes, I am. Yes, love, wisdom, power. Yes, I am. Say yes to yourself. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I am. Yes.
Peace, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Moorish Monday with Abdullah Iltle Mosi Bey on Magnets, Crystals, Pyramids, YouTube. Welcome. I want to let you know that there was we had a successful event on Saturday, the National Human Rights and Nationality Conference at the Brownsville's Heritage House in Brooklyn, New York. This way it was actually broadcast. The entire event was broadcast live on this platform, Magnets, Crystals, Pyramids, YouTube. So you can check out the event, the conference on this page. I'm wearing the t-shirt. In fact, I had this on Saturday. This is the Declaration of the Rights of the Child. This is to promote the Human Rights and Nationality for Our Children national campaign. Someone thought it would be fitting to wear this tonight, as I was going to just talk briefly about before I bring on our guests about the conference. Luisa Flores was the hostess and mistress of ceremony. We had a wonderful turnout. We had Dr. Mama Tutu was in the house. We had Brother Tiny and Pastor Reggie was there. And we had some members of the Black Spades were in the house. We had Sister Sasha of Dr. World's group, Brother Raza of the Harmony Fete, Brother Ishmael, who's also with the Dr. World's group. We had someone from Scientology there, Maximus from Church of Scientology. And we had Rahim, Brother Rahim, Abdullah Bey were there. They were we also, Brother Anthony, Brother Jonathan, Anthony Grace. I want to give him a shout out for being there, taking photos, doing the recording, And we had Brother Hank was in the house the whole time. He did the live broadcast on this channel. So we streamed live on this channel, Magnus Crystal Pyramids YouTube. So our brother Luis Martinez was there, and he had his energy machine. I had a chance to feel comfortable with that. Got get the name of the machine. He was there, and a few others were there as well. So I just wanted to highlight and give those special thanks to those others, and also I remember the food was well prepared. I can't remember the name of the from the Middle Eastern family was there to they actually cater the food. So I definitely want to as Sister Louisa, if you're listening, just type that in. Who I can't recall the name of the family that was there that catered for us. Waiting for brother it's Vicerious Ill, who was our guest. So please subscribe to the page if you haven't done so. Hit that like button. Let people know that we're on, that we're live and direct. All right, we're live and direct. What'll be you see across my screen my website, mooresandmasonry.org. And Vicerious Ill will be doing a book review of my book, How Her Venus and Moon Rule. To get the book, go to my website, mooresandmasonry.org, as well as my other books. Is Vicerious is he backstage? So I want to once again give thanks to those who supported the Human Rights and Nationality Conference. No, he's not backstage. He's probably still trying to get in on the Human Rights and Nationality Conference. And this actually would be actually on July between July 24th and July 26th, next month, the International Human Rights Summit at the United Nations. So we'll be Conscious Moors will be in the house. And so we thought it would be fitting to have the Human Rights and Nationality Conference a month before the International Human Rights Summit. We're working to bring awareness on the international scale, connected with more international organizations, those who have international connections, to bringing the awareness of the mass denationalization and mass dehumanization of our people, as we have been classified by the French and Dutch and Portuguese, the English and Spanish, and those classifications being maintained by the United States as Black, Negro, Colored, and African American. So this is we're extending our network and our outreach, to those who have international connections and outreach and networks, and actually working together. And Brother Tiny made it clear on Saturday, and forming an alliance with me and others so that we can work together and particularly bringing this Moorish nationality conscious awareness to our people. So that is great there, as I've mentioned on Saturday, and merging my network and outreach with Luisa Flores' network and outreach, as well as Quasi's network and outreach. Luisa Flores was on this platform, was my guest on March March 24th. So that can be seen. So her presentation dealt with her as she's a conduit for facilitating Moorish history, Moorish nationality, Moorish political national unity education. And Quasi was on last month. Quasi of Travijima, he was on last month as he is a conduit for facilitating Moorish nationality, Moorish history, Moorish political national unity education. So, and merging our various networks and outreach together, we've been working together with various conscious Moorish organizations and outreach, as well as unconscious Moorish organizations and outreach. And so we're just working to how to maneuver that and facilitating, and beginning to work together. As I mentioned on Saturday, we often try to do our own thing with our different organizations, and that is one of our weaknesses. So how do we work together? And that facilitating our working together is a process. It's not overnight. I never think overnight. I never think like that. I think I'm a practical thinker. So forming relationships, bonding, having conferences as we had on Saturday, the Human Rights Nationality Conference, bringing awareness, connecting with the International Human Rights Summit, which is next month in the United Nations, being able to reach out to more of those who have NGOs and other international organizations. So that's a process. All the guest speakers who have been on my Moorish Monday platform for the past year and a half, I had posted 3 or 4 times on my Facebook page, Abdullah Bey's. There's a 2-page flyer with all my guest speakers, their names, as well as their organizational titles. Organizations are. I actually decided to have Israel. I want to thank Brother Israel for putting that together for me. And so I just wanted to show as I'm using this platform to facilitate unity, bringing in different guests, those unconscious as well as unconscious, so that we can facilitate, beginning to work together. But I said, I know that process, we just can't say it. We have to facilitate it. So I'm using this venue as a way to facilitate that, as well as connecting with other organizations and outreach and beginning to work together. So I, thought and working with Sister Luisa Flores and connecting her organizations, and she made that presentation on this platform on March 24th. And Quasi, with his outreach, his community outreach in schools and different community organizations and the cooperatives, and also with the LaGrange Police Department and so forth. And with his 20 different organizations that he's connected with, that's even outside of Georgia. So just facilitating that process of bringing us together, working together. So we're going to be doing diagrams and flow charts. All right. He's not, as I said before, I want to thank y'all, those who supported the Human Rights and Nationality Conference. It was an excellent event. And I want to thank you for all your support. Brother Hank is not backstage. No, he's not. Oh, I need to. Wow. All right, I'll continue. So I bet Brother Israel, Brother Ryserius will be my guest tonight. He will be doing a book review of my book, How Her Venus and Moon Rule. To get the book, once again, go to mooresandmasonry.org. mooresandmasonry.org. This is the back cover of the book. Let me read as I'm waiting for him. Addressing the political motive of the distorted and corrupted view that the woman and the ancient crescent horn-headed goat misrepresented as the devil are the causes of the world's evil. The European Shriners placed the Moorish scimitar above the head of the Moabite woman, crescent moon and five-pointed star as a symbol of their suppressing the ancient astronomically and agricultural knowledge of the Venus and moon calendars, Venus and moon cycles, and their natural rhythmic harmony with women. And their chapter entitled "Goddess of the Witches" of their book, The Great Cosmic Mother, Rediscovering the Religion of the Earth, Monica Suge and Barbara Moore write, "The morning star, also the evening star, is Venus, which along with the moon was observed with very accurate calculations by ancient astronomers worldwide. To the Aztecs, it was Quetzalcoatl. To the Mayans, Kukulkan. To the Sumerians and Babylonians, it was Inanna Ishtar. When Christians encounter astrological observations and texts on Venus and the moon, they only saw devil worship. Hence, they destroyed library after library containing ancient wisdom and knowledge, including the Mayan Astronomical Library Amani, as well as the Library Alexandria. Mayan astronomical knowledge was probably the most advanced in the world and in the ancient world. In 1552, the intellectual brilliance as well as spiritual data stated that contained nothing in which there was not to be seen superstitions and lies of the devil, and so we burned them all. Early Christian smashing of Dionic cults in the Mediterranean, as well as later church persecutions of witches in Europe, must be seen in this global context. Wherever Christians saw knowledge, herbal, medicinal, astronomical, symbolical, they saw demonism, and they moved to destroy it. The witch persecutions were not simply aimed at devil worshippers, but at ancient human knowledge of the world. All right, so that was the reading from the Great Cosmic Mother, Rediscovering the Religion of the Earth. Also, I want to mention that on Saturday at the Human Rights Nationality Conference, the Moroccan Post School of Government International Law, the conference was sponsored by the Moroccan Post School of Government and International Law, and we gave out quite a few certificates. The humanitarian certificates were given out in honoring Dr. Mama Tutu. We had Anthony Gray. Jonathan Anthony Gray was giving the Youth Humanitarian Award. We had Brother Hank, Ishmael, Sasha Ill. I was trying to remember. Bahim Abdullah Bey was given an award. King Al Bey, Quasi Ill, and Quasi Ill cannot be went out in attendance, but they were given an award, certificate, humanitarian certificate, and I'm trying to remember others. Tiny, Brother Tiny, Pastor Reggie, his Pastor Reggie. They were also given certificates. And I want to thank Sister Luisa Flores for working with me and organizing the conference. She worked very hard and assisted me in putting together the conference. I want to thank her for her tireless work. Brother Hank, you don't see him? We 20 minutes in now. Hey, brother Hank, you want to come on so I need to call him. You want to come? All right, I'm going to give him a
No,
call.
just call him while you on the line, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I can do that.
Yeah,
I'm
you can. You can do
all
it.
right. It'll go
All
off.
right. So listen. All right. Listen. I got somebody here. Uh.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let me mic up. Let me cam up.
It came up. Yes.
Yeah, that's Islam, brothers and sisters. We got right now a sister that's getting ready to show you what happens when you put a laser activated crystal around or your neck or your crown. So go ahead, Abdullah.
All
I'll
right.
hold
All
it
right.
down. Before and after. Now this crystal just got activated, and this sister here is a herbalist. Her name is Laida Herb, and Laida Herb is going to do a before and after with this laser activated rose quartz that can be worn on your heart, over your chest, or even put in your hair so that you can benefit from high frequencies. High frequency has dominion over low frequency. The difference between a crystal and a rock is a rock is disorganized like the hood, disorganized on a molecular level. A crystal is like a Jewish army, organized on the molecular level, because when you have disorganization, it's easy to hate to love, and it's easy to love to hate because you have disorganization based on trauma. So if you put a crystal on your neck, on your crown, the molecular organization of the hexagonal molecules will create a vibratory rate to organize your molecular structure so that you can become, uh, I guess you could say, a flame of hope, inspiration, and manifestation in your life, in your community, and can reconnect with your frequency family, because many of us don't have family connections, but you can create a frequency family that you align with. But first, you have to get rid of your disorganization on the molecular level because of trauma. When a cell experiences pain, a cell shrinks and disconnects from the collective. When a cell experiences joy, it expands and connects to the collective. So here we go. You ready, Laida?
Ready.
Okay. So this is Laida. Say hi to the family.
Peace and love, my people.
Okay. Now, Laida, go ahead and sit down and try lifting the weight. See what it feels like. Okay.
Okay.
That was her without the crystal. Now, dun, 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 let's see what happens. Passing it to Laida. First, tell us what it feels like. You got to talk up.
I can feel the energy flowing around me like this.
And now pass it over your body and see where it needs to be, in what proximity. Heart chakra, crown, womb. Because a lot of sisters in the broken community disconnected from their womb, from the mental tomb. They disconnected from their womb. So sisters got to get out of their mental tomb into their crystal womb, and the brothers got to get out of their monkey mind into their heart so they can shine. So Laida is working the crystal. What's it feel like so far? Tell us what you feel.
Well,
Speak up.
I've been working on my store. I've been very intensely working for weeks on end. And my core of my stomach has a little nervous tension when I came.
And I just finished rubbing it down with this in the circular pattern. And it feels very nice and releasing. Oh, it smells very lovely.
Now try the lift test.
Well,
She's still sniffing, y'all. I think she's getting high on the smell.
this is called aromatherapy. Okay? This is the therapy of aroma.
Okay, go ahead.
This is not getting high. Oh, Lord. Mm.
Oh, shoot. Wow.
My spine was recently cracked 3.5 years ago. Honey, I couldn't do that last year. I couldn't do that January this year. I'm getting stronger, but oh my goodness, this aroma is so wonderful.
Okay, thank you,
This is
Laida.
uplifting. This is an uplifting vibration.
Wow. Okay, so
Releasing. It's releasing a lot of heavy energy that was like a confused energy that I've been having for because I've been just zooming. You know, I'm a Capricorn, zooming, zoom, 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 zoom. So now I feel relaxed internally. Okay, mentally, emotionally, I feel relaxed, y'all.
All right, thanks for sharing it. Yeah, so you want to wear it on your neck or you want to wear it on your hair?
I'm going to have to wear it right here at my heart chakra.
Mm.
Right here.
So listen, when we rule the universe, because the word Atlantean, according to the book Hermeneutic Interpretations, Social Status, that was written in the 1700s in France and then translated to English in 1910, Fabre d'Olivier, who was the author, said the black race defined themselves not as Negroes, not as Africans. They defined themselves through their I am or Nuke Poo Nuke as masters of the universe. And master, the word for Atlantean word for master is at. And universe, not earth, universe is land. So the word Atlantean means masters of the universe, but through your personal inner divinity. Uh, so we use crystal technology. We use crystal technology to amplify our personal divinity. When a crystal is correctly activated and aligned, it allows you only to see God everywhere. That was Abdullah saying he's backstage and there's nobody there. So if you're listening, Abdullah, nobody's backstage at present.
The stripes are on the side.
So we're waiting for them to come back. Oh, there's somebody right there. Guests. Rosirius L. Okay. All right, Rosirius, you got in. That's good. All right, I'm going backstage now. So listen, family. Crystals, when activated, will allow you to see only God in everything, because God is the only reality. And I think that's what it means when they say la. I don't know if I got to pronounce. That means God is the only reality. So when you activate a crystal correctly, the only reality you see is God. If you can't see God everywhere, that means your vibration got to be uplifted, elevated, transmutated, accelerated. And I say, peace to the gods. I'm out.
Peace, peace. Peace.
Okay, you heard it from the goddess.
All right, welcome back. I did a little singing on Saturday. That's a attention getter. Welcome back. All right, we have our guest tonight, Brother Vicarious Ill. Right, this is his fourth time as he appeared for the first time leading up to the Moorish Political Unity Conference. That was on May 18th, 2024. He appeared, I think, a week or two before the conference as the first time. Or no, that wasn't the first
That
time,
was
was
like
it?
the third time.
That was the third time.
Yeah.
That's right. He appeared before. Exactly. That was the third time. My apologies. So this is your fourth or fifth time.
Yeah.
All right. So on
Hey.
Saturday for myself, I got a couple of bottles of the white oil. It works. It smells so good. He is the real deal. There's nothing fake about this video. Now she's talking about Hank. Dr. Luisa Flores bought some. She bought some couple white bottles, a couple of bottles from Hank, a white oil from Hank on Saturday. All right. So that's what she's referring to. So once again, Luisa Flores was the guest, was the hostess and mistress of ceremony. She did an excellent job, and she was also worked. She and I were. She worked with me in organizing the event, and the Moroccan Post School of Government International Law was the sponsor of the event. All right, so I'm going to let me read this here. Many unhealthy things. So what works for our body through nature, earth that was created for us, and we need nothing else but earth because God made it perfect, the divine and holy intelligence to the no end. All right, great. So I'm going to hand the mic over. All right, as I've done the introduction, and I thank Brother Hank for coming in. All right, so we here. I'm going to read this and then we're going to get started. Yes, it used to bathe my children. I used to bathe my children in the pure blue oil back then. He had larger bottles, and it was better to bring your children, your babies, and then the poison shower water that gives them eczema. All right, so check out Brother Hank. Check out Brother Hank. And he got some wonderful products. He was there, full house. Once again, the event, the the Human Rights and Nationality Conference was broadcast. The entire conference was broadcast live on this channel, Magnus Crystals Pyramids YouTube. It's on this channel. All right, so you'll see it if you want to click on. So I want to thank Brother Hank for being there for us and for his support. The food venue for Saturday is a business family named Jamal Company. Yes, thank you, Sister Lisa. Yes, I want to also give that company a shout out. Brother Vicarious will be doing a book review on my book, How Her Venus and Moon Rule. All right, Brother Vicarious, you have the floor.
Islam. Peace, everyone. Peace, everyone. Definitely enjoyed my brother's book, How Her Venus and Moon Rule. He got into a lot of things in it. One of the main things I wanted to touch on is the fact that, his objective is to reconnect the defeated Moors classified as Black, Negro, Colored, and African American in the United States Census Bureau to their ancient astronomical and agricultural knowledge of the moon and Venus planting and harvest cycles, as well as their ancient matrifocal societies and female fertility deities. The restoration of this ancient knowledge to the minds of the defeated Moors is the symbolic removal of the Moorish scimitar placed above the head of the Moabite woman and the crescent moon and five-pointed star as displayed on Moorish fezzes worn by European Shriners since 1870. Now, this symbol that they've been utilizing since 1870, although the moon and star have been on flags and has been in existence in that capacity longer than the Shriners have used it. The Shriners, of course, got that from somewhere else. Placing a sword above it dictates their subjugation of the Moabite woman. Now, not only are we talking and get into the aspect of the Moabite woman, but the book gets into why is horns and the crescent moon and even those type of worship or that type of veneration, how it was devilish, it was made devilish and satanic by mostly patriarchy, but a lot of what's going on now and who's in control of things. Now when we get into the female in itself, or the mother or the matriarch, a lot of that is what was changed, buried, taken away, or even assimilated and changed over to fit the purposes of those who are controlled. So, one of my examples in using of that is if anyone is privy to the symbol of the Order of the Eastern Star and how it is a pentagram, an inverted pentagram, as they call it, which is also one of the symbols that's used. Now, the pentagram in itself is not an evil symbol. Brother has it right there on the side. It's not an evil symbol. Most take the pentagram to deal with witchcraft or something satanic or some type of devilishment. But the question is, why do they feel that way? Who put that in place for it, for that to be felt that way in that capacity? All right. Now the star, the pentagram, it, especially with the circle around it, it deals with a relationship between how Venus and Earth have a cycle. And that cycle, Venus, where Venus will go through 8 different positions, or I'm sorry, 5 different positions, making that pentagram in the 8 year period. So the 8 to 5 ratio, based in that, is that's what he's breaking down. He's showing you a picture of it in the back. I apologize because I'm on a phone instead of a laptop, so I can't show you my slides. But he has it right there as well. And then we have the symbols that have been used in the past. We see the pentagram there. We also see what looks like a Viking symbol. These symbols being used, we don't even realize. We look at it and we say, oh, that's a Viking symbol. But we don't pay the horns any mind. We don't realize that those horns have a representation to them. Those horns are a representation of the lunar cycle or moon cycles. Now, they put a man's face in the center of those horns, but that's only because at the time period, they were venerating the male aspect of the sun. And in venerating the male aspect of the sun, that's why that's a male face there. Although if you typically look at it, it's a lunar symbol.
That this is and you know that this is the mystic order of the veiled prophet of the enchanted realm. It uses that symbol that he's talking about with the horns and the makana. That's called a makana.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the ancient the grottos.
Mm-hmm.
That's the mystic order of the veiled prophet of the enchanted realms, established in Hamilton, New York in 1850. There's 150 temples, 150 temples within the United States jurisdiction. All 150 temples use Moorish names.
Mm-hmm.
That's the mystic order, the veiled prophet of the enchanted realm, grotto. Grotto means cave. Grotto means cave, so it's like it's a storehouse of knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Now they utilize that. Now, if you check into what the organization deals with, it's an organization for master masons and their families only, who are in good standing. So that's who are utilizing that symbol as well. So we're still dealing with those in the craft. We're still dealing with those in the Masonic order. At the same time, they don't explain what those horns mean. They don't explain what that symbol means. It seems like a group for having fun and playing and things like that, having steak fries and all of that, but only Master Masons are allowed to join. or master masons and their families allowed to join. But the same symbol that's being used, that male in the symbol, is supposed to be a representation of the sun, while you have the two horns on the side in representation of the moon. But those horns, when people look at those horns, we're being told that horns mean something devilish or satanic. We have the symbols of uh, the Baphomet. Now, that symbol with the Viking looking symbol, that's from, they call it the Mohana. Now, the veiled prophet, it's a whole little mythology or story. It's actually a poem that they have with it. It's a group of actually 3 to 4 poems that they consist of, that have the whole story that breaks down, their whole little proficiency and everything, and their little mythology that goes with their order. And that order deals with the veiled prophet. At the same time, that symbol is more lunar worship. It didn't always have a male in the center. That's a misrepresentation. When you get into understanding what happened, why is the moon, if the sun is so put on a pinnacle, why is the moon put so low? Why does the moon deal with devil worship? Why are they making the moon out to be something negative? In Al Islam, they have the 3 goddesses that were before the time of Orthodox Islam that Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam brought. And in that same uh uh those deities, those 3 goddesses, which is Alat, Al-Uzza, and Manat, they actually represented phases of the moon. Later on, they got changed to being, instead of being the 3 goddesses, they were later changed to daughters of Allah. But when you understand the concept and understand linguistics of what a law, the term in itself, is a feminine word. So we look at it as a male deity. But when you look at Al-Islam, when you look at Islam, their book is called the Al-Kitab. It's the mother book. It's a lunar religion, contrary to the Bible, which is a solar religion, the Helios Bibliotech. So if it's the Al-Kitab, and this Al-Kitab book that we're dealing with, I believe it's chapter 54, or 54, where they talk about the 3 goddesses. They talk about them in different parts of the book, but they deal with it and call it the satanic verses when they deal with those 3 goddesses, or the worship of those 3 goddesses. They tell you in the chapters, don't do as the pagans do. They worship women. So they worship Satan. That's what it says. That's how it's brought forth. Now, when we're looking at that, why would the moon be considered satanic? Why would they make those verses to be considered satanic verses? When we're dealing with the crescent in itself, especially going upwards, makes horns. These horns were venerated in most other cultures. If you look at Egypt and we look at the goddess Hathor or Het Heru, which would be one of her other names, but Hathor, she was a goddess with horns. She was a goddess in animal pictography. They pictured her as a cow most of the time. But when they pictured her in goddess form, she was a goddess with horns, most of the time with the sun disk in the center. But we interpret it and say it's the sun disk because it's round. But who says it's the sun disk? When you have horns and one side is pointing in a curved direction to the left, and one is pointing in a curved direction to the right, and you have a circle in the center, because we're told that that's the sun, that's what we believe. We say that Ra and everybody carried around the sun disk, but how do we actually know that? Ra, maybe. But the goddesses, Isis, Hathor, or Osset, Het Heru, these goddesses who had horns, at the same time, they were representations of the moon. When they say they have the sun disk in the center, is it actually a sun disk? Just because something is round doesn't make it the sun. We also know the circle with the pentagram in the center. That's still a Earth and Venus correlation. They didn't call it a sun correlation. It's an Earth and Venus correlation. A lot of, if we can take it back to the Sibyls, at the time that the Sibyls were running around, a lot of what was going on, they influenced. Now, I don't know if everybody has an understanding what the Sibyl is, but I'll get into that with you. But they were the prophetesses of who they call now Mami Wada. But when you get into where they were everywhere that some form of culture was being established. And at the same time that they were establishing things, when patriarchy came about, they were out to destroy the things that they were setting up. The Black Madonna. We look at the Black Madonna and automatically we just think Jesus and Mary, Isis and Horus. It's beyond that. And when you get into certain teachings, it wasn't always a male who was going to be born as the son. In certain representations, they say it's a female that's coming in male form to be the son. But through the changeover, through patriarchy, through just trying to bury, the whole aspect of the horns, we think the devil got horns. Why do we think the devil has horns? What psychology placed that in our mind? The brother in the book breaks down from the aspect of Baphomet, the goat of Mendes, however you want to look at it. We look at these symbols and automatically, bang, evil, satanic, ungodly. We don't look into what these things represent. Everything now that we deal with is focused on heliacal or sun worship or sun religions. Most of the sun religions that we're dealing with came from a moon religion or a lunar religion. Now you take the goddess Ishtar. We look at Astarte. We look at Easter, period. And everything is revolved around the movement of the sun. But it's named after a female. Easter or Esther or Astarte or Ishtar. So if everything is so much around this feminine energy or what they call the feminine energy, why are we celebrating a male Sunday around those time periods? That's not to say that the sun doesn't have his place, but you don't push for the sun to have his place without giving a representation of all the other solar celestial bodies that we utilize that are near us, whose energy shines down on us. And we look at the composite of the scimitar over top of the Moabite woman's head and the star and crescent. And to the Shriners, oh yeah, for us, we look at it, oh, okay, that's a Shriner symbol. We don't even look at it as that's a symbol of our subjugation. It's a symbol of our colonization. It's a symbol of our assimilation into a culture that's not ours, but derived from us. When the Sibyls were on the planet and they were teaching and they were prophesying and people were coming to them, that needed to be stopped in the patriarch world. Now, rather than them just wipe it out totally, which they couldn't do because it was all over the planet. So they couldn't just wipe it out. So they had to adapt it and change it and throw little other aspects into it that make us look at it as devilishment. Everybody to this day, when we see horns, we automatically think, the devil. Satan. Lucifer is Venus, the light bearer. We are told he was an angel. But if we're dealing with angels, angles, however you want to look at it, who says that angels have a gender for us to call it he or she for that factor? Who said that angels are male and female? from my understanding of things, gender is based in physicality. So in order to have a gender, you got to be physical. Because can your spirit be male or female? Remember, the spiritus is breath. Can it be male or female? The God, your higher self and lower self. Can it be male or female? These things are not tangible. These things are not things you can touch. These are not things that need a gender. They're not procreating. So gender must be something that deals with physicality. And if it's not physical, we don't necessarily need to make it physical. The deities that we speak about, most people have an issue with women being here first. If you look at writings in books like The Great Cosmic Mother, she gets into talking about a time where it was mostly women on the planet. They talk about man coming from woman. If man is so much the dominant, why is it mandatory for us to come here through a female? When we look at the three goddesses in pre-Islamic Middle East, the only women that are venerated in the Quran, I believe, is Khadijah, and I believe it's two of the Prophet's wives. Oh, I'm sorry, Mary, mother of Jesus, or Isa. Isa is what they call him in the Quran. And also remember, letter J's didn't exist until around the 15th, 16th century, so there was no Jesus. So what would Jesus do? That wasn't going to work out back then, because there was no Jesus. Lunar worship became devil worship, especially when you have those who come talking about they're drawing down the moon and all of that without understanding what that really means. And I want to just read you something real quick from Mami Wada, Africa's Ancient Goddess Unveiled. Now, real quick, to the ancient Arabs, before she was usurped by Allah, she was worshipped as a Lat, which is derived from the Hebrew and as Aphrodite, the crescent, long before it was attributed exclusively to Allah. The Tauric Black Diana was worshipped as Bellissima by the ancient Black Hebrews or Jews as the original dual-headed god of Moses before they rejected her to elevate her minor consort, Jehovah. So that's to say that some of the male deities were actually consorts of the Black goddesses. But once the Black goddesses were satanicized or satanized, their counterparts took over being as the main deity. But they were once upon a time, as it says about Jehovah, that was a counterpart to the Black Diana. In Gaul or Rome, Black Diana was worshipped as Diana and Nemetona. Nemetone was her sacred grove where elaborate celebrations would ensue with offerings of apples and cider bowl with Black Ethiopians on it. Even the festivals was based in the goddess. It's parts when they talk about circumcision, and I believe it was Queen Artemis. Some of her worshippers in adoration of that, of her, or to be, should I say, her consort or one of her priests, they would, let's just say, they would castrate themselves. Now, later on, that was carried on, and now we call it circumcision. But when you were truly trying to be a consort of Artemis back then, in that time, and you were male, to be her actual, one of her actual consorts, they would castrate themselves and would be one of her eunuchs, they called it. And a eunuch is basically just a man who's been castrated, but he's still living, operating. Now, most of the time, as a male, yeah, that don't sound like too much of a positive thing. But they had so much adoration for this goddess that this is what they would do to be her consort, which in Hebrew later on carried into circumcision. Devilishment. Why? Through the Venus Earth cycles, we so focused on sun cycles when we're dealing with agriculture that we don't even get into the aspect that between Venus, other planets in our solar system, just light in general. We even still right now we're receiving waves of ultraviolet energy and light coming all the way from Alpha Centauri, coming from the star Sirius, coming from Orion. Their energy still influence these planets, or this planet, the same that Venus does. The black Venus was made to be evil. They call it in her. If you read most of the writings, especially if they're written by a patriarch, it goes into how they're, when they're black, they're in their dark phase, their negative or evil phase. Then they changed them over in European. I don't want to say Europeanized them, because to say Europeanized them would give the fact that the pale skins actually are from Europe and that's their land, and it's not. So I don't call them European. Look into Queen Europa. Look into a lot of what was going on over there. Look at the Black Diana and the goddesses that were around in those areas before there was sun worship. Look at how Christianity was influenced by it. Look at how even, dare to say, Egyptology or Cometics was influenced by them. When they speak of ISIS and they talk about the cults of ISIS, they talk about one for that area. And we run around chasing God as if he's male. But why would the Supreme Being have a gender? Why would the Supreme Being want you? If he does have a gender and you want to call it a he, why would he make her out to be evil, satanic? Why would the light bearer, Lucifer, why would that be satanic? Why would pictures of Lucifer or things dealing with that, like Baphomet, goat of Mendes, why would all these things be considered evil? Bobby Hemmett at one time, he said, the dark side is the overturned feminine realm. Everything, all your black evil, anything, your dark evil, darkness, all of that, the overturned feminine realm is what they would call that. So they made it satanic to worship the moon. They say only witches do that. But when you look back in history, that's not the case. When you get into looking at the Kaaba being a black stone, that's not the case. When you're looking at the pentagram within a circle, that's not the case. When you look at the swastika, that's not the case. The Baphomet picture has one hand pointing up, one hand pointing down, representing as above, so below. Plus, I believe in some pictures you have a caduceus as well. You have goddesses even in certain Rome statues where they showed them or depict them in the ancient times wearing a breastplate with the zodiac.
This is the church, the Satanic Church, Satanic Temple. The Satanic Temple uses this, and this is on page. Those who have my book, page 37.
Mm-hmm.
Why are people afraid of Satanic Temple's 9 feet tall statue? 9 feet tall statue. So I break it down on page 37.
Mm-hmm.
We go read it. Go to page 37. Read it.
I got it.
Yeah, read it.
Why are the people afraid of Satanic Temple's 9 foot tall statue?
I'm not sure the
That-
picture while you reading it.
Mhm. The astronomical explanation of the Satanic Temple 9 feet tall statue. 1. The goat Baphomet and the crescent shaped horns. The goat is an ancient symbol of fertility, women, power, moon, and moon calendar. The goat was chosen because of its crescent shaped horns, resembling the crescent shaped moon. The words month, menstrual cycle, and menstruation are derived from the word moon. The 5 pointed star, this image is an emblematic of the 584-day cycle of the planet Venus, measuring from the beginning of the 260-day period where Venus is the morning star and the end of the 260-day period where Venus is the evening star. Notice, Venus is the morning and evening star. Certain places they'll tell you one is Jesus, one is Lucifer, but we'll touch on that. The 5 pointed star within the circle, this represents the planet Venus and Earth alignment, which occurs every 8 years. The two snakes intertwine up the rod. This symbolizes the rising of the Kundalini energy up the spinal cord. Those two serpents are called Ida and Pingala, and that stretch up the middle, what they call the staff or the vertebrae. They call it the Sushumna. The cross legs of the Baphomet, this is emblematic of the galactic cross, which is also represented on the Confederate flag and the crossbones of the skull and bones. This is also demonstrated with the crossed arms of the ancient Egyptian statues. The height of the statue, 9 feet. The number 9 is derived from the 9-month or moon process of the development of the fetus in the womb of the woman. Now that's the breakdown of Baphomet. 9 feet tall statue. And we know 9 does symbolize that time period in the womb. And in that same time period, they have salts of the earth from the time that the fetus is first conceived all the way till its conception. Those 3 moons that you were not being formed in flesh, those 3 salts needed to be adapted into your diet for those who know and don't know. So if you are born in June or if you're conceived in September, and you're born in May, let's say Taurus, then you will still need the salts of the earth for Gemini, Cancer, and Leo. Because in your conception of who you are, when your physicality was in fetus mode going through those changes, you didn't have the energy of those cycles within you. You're around for the other ones. You were inside of your mother's womb developing. So once you go through those 9 months, the 3 months that you lack, or the 3 cycles that you lack, which is the ones that come after you. So if you're born a Taurus, that means you lack Gemini, Cancer, and Leo. If you're born a Scorpio, that means you lack Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius. Back to the horned goddesses, back to the Baphomet, back to what's being interpreted as evil to us psychologically, which I still look at it as a form of colonization. We are still caught under this colonization. Not only are we caught under it through history, we're caught under it through nationality. They got us thinking that we're crayons. They got us believing that our ancient, natural, matriarchal, matrifocal cultures and societies are all considered evil and dark. They got us believing in the illusion of finance, which they call fiat or currency. They have us believing that everything that is us is evil. And we need to adapt to this new, which is not new, but this sun worship. Nothing wrong with sun worship. Sun worship without the moon, sun worship without Venus, sun worship without Polaris, sun worship without any of the other planets that are
Sirius,
close to us.
Sirius.
Sirius, Sigitolo. These are all sciences that we knew about. Dogon knew that there was more than 7 planets before the rest of the world. And they didn't have technology. It took them to get a telescope to realize that Sirius had a companion. And Sirius, the star, is represented as female in most ancient texts. Whether you want to go to the Egyptian, where they call it Sopdu, Sothis. Sothis is more Greek. Sirius is Greek. Sopdu would be more Kemetic. But this was a goddess. Patriarchy took over. What does Sirius represent now? Anubis. But who says it was always Anubis? Sirius is considered the star of Isis, but they call it a dog star. And its representation is the jackal and the jackal deity, which is Anubis, a son of Osiris, a son of Isis' sister. And even all of that is still symbolic because they took the serpent and made it evil too. But if you go back into the Egyptian, even beyond, serpents weren't always evil either. Jesus said, be as wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So how can a serpent is wise and evil? Why would that symbol be made evil? Because just like the lunar deities and just like the horns and everything else, they considered that serpent worship. But if you look at some of the symbols from back then, if you look at some of the goddesses and how they were pictographed back then, and you look at the things that were on the emblems on their chests and what they held in their hands, a lot of times it was a serpent. The 2 serpents that go up your spine, entwining your spine until it gets to your head and opens your crown chakra. Ida and Pingala. yin and yang, sun and moon. Everything that they display to us as being negative is what was ours, and we cherished it one time, but we were taught and mentally colonized to believe the opposite. We believe black represents death and white represents godly. But when you go in other countries, you'll find that in most places, they wear white at funerals. How her Venus and moon rule goes deeper than what's on the surface of them just calling it devil worship. It was a total wiping out and assimilation of the matriarch and matrifocal societies of the past. It wasn't just done by just patriarchy. The whole idea of venerating the sun over the moon. They say the moon reflects the light of the sun. Does it? Because if that's the case, then every planet in the solar system should be reflecting the light of the sun. We call the moon a dead body. How can it be a dead body when it influences all the water on the planet? But we say it's a dead body floating through space, a satellite for the Earth. That satellite got a lot of power. Civilization, agriculture. Our whole agriculture is based in these same things. Do you think a farmer only deals with what the sun can produce? Do you think in an ephemeris that that's all they're looking at is what the sun is doing? There are certain herbs that can only be produced certain times of the year. There are certain herbs that can only be produced certain times during the Venus cycle too. The sun is supposedly 93 million miles from us. But in part of that evolution, it's only 92,844,000. So that means that's a period where it gets closer to us. How would that affect vegetation? How would that affect life? How would that affect growth during these different time periods? We utilize 4 seasons. We only got 4 seasons because the earth is on a tilt. If the earth wasn't on a tilt, we wouldn't have seasons. They bury our astronomical knowledge in allegory, and they don't understand it barely themselves. Masonry dealing with the 5-pointed pentagram in representation of the Order of the Eastern Star. Is Masonry evil? Is the Order of the Eastern Star evil? Or are they harboring the knowledge of that Venus Earth cycle? Are they showing adoration in closed doors but telling us outside, oh, you don't need it? Are our brothers and sisters who are in these crafts taught to do that? Or do they just not know? Are they still as well mentally colonized to believe something different? We have many, many Black Madonnas. We have many so-called black goddesses. And I'm only using this term because that's the way it's so-called written, when they want to give off the appearance that it's an evil thing. Although you do find a black Madonna in the Vatican. But everything has been changed. Even the Statue of Liberty has been changed and Slavicized. Because, like I said, it's not European. I'm not going to get into the whole crayon thing. I'm not going to get into the color code system bus so much. But the goddesses, the Melanias, as they call them, the Melania goddesses. This is where we came from. This is where our cultures came from. These cultures influenced the whole world. They changed it later on and made them into sun worship. If you get into our Islam right now, they do not recognize a goddess whatsoever. It's not that they have a disrespect for the woman, but that's a matter of opinion. But they definitely don't do a goddess at all.
Right, serious. Why do you think that's the case? Because you
Because well, if you look at
lay
you know, from
you lay down some good foundation leading up
Mhm.
to that and led up and that leads up to distortion. So what do you think?
The distortion was based in the hiding of the original. Like they said in the Quran, don't do as the pagans do because they worship women. They worship the devil. Pretty much how the verse goes. So when you look at my opinion, so when you look at the Prophet Muhammad, just from the things that I've researched, when Prophet Muhammad brought Islam, it was to eradicate what? It was to eradicate the pagan way of thinking, the pagan way of worship. Well, the pagan way of worship, they venerated Alat al-Uzza Manat. And then later on, even the pagans themselves, even when they were getting conquered, tried to adapt a little bit and called them daughters of Allah. That wasn't enough. They had to get wiped out. They don't deal with that teaching at all. They mention it in the Quran in about 4 verses, maybe. Because Alat al-Uzza Manat is in the Quran.
Now I want to address, and I know you said I want to just. I know you say it's your opinion, but it really isn't your opinion. You are laying down facts. So what you got just this is for the audience. Uh, uh, Viserys is not speaking opinions. Viserys laid the groundwork. He laid the groundwork for 30 minutes, 30, 40 minutes, laying the groundwork. He laid down facts. So he can refer to the wide use of the moon. He talked about the Sibyl. So he's not actually giving an opinion that's not grounded in facts or that he laid down. So because I want to just put that out there because when people hear opinion,
Mhm.
because you're doing a great job, and I didn't want you to dilute what your presentation by saying my opinion. All right,
Understood.
I got you. So you know where I'm going. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I definitely got the facts to back it up. I mentioned a couple books earlier. One book I mentioned, even a brother mentioned it in his book, is a book called Arab Invasion by a brother named Molay. And it's from an Islamic perspective, I've been Sunni Muslim just in my research alone and just in reading the Quran in itself. And pagan worship was to be eradicated. Prophet Muhammad came and did that. You look at what pagan worship is, most of it was the worship of women. Quran says it specifically. Don't do as the pagans do. They worship women. So for that to be a focal point, and then when they mention these goddesses, they call it the satanic verses. So if those are the satanic verses, now most people attack and say, oh, they're attacking women. No, no. It's attacking the worship of women for a male deity with a female name, because I'm sorry. Linguistics, a law, feminine word. Who says it's a he? We talked about angels already. Spiritual beings, however you want to look at it. These beings cannot be male or female because that is only relevant to a physical body. I would not need to be male or female if I'm spirit or something animated or just a soul. Why would I need a gender? I'm not reproducing nothing. That's why they could say when we're being formed in the womb, they say we're feminine, we're a female first, and then later on through vibration and things like that, we turn into males. If that's the case, then it should be no problem in venerating the feminine aspect of Godhood. But it's been calculated and time consumed for hundreds of years, and they still doing it now, nothing changed, to bury her, to bury mother. Culturally speaking, these are things that we need to bring back. These are things that we need to take back into who we are. The reestablishment of the matrifocal societies, the matrifocal culture, the aspect of what was taken from us and changed and satanized. We need to retrieve all that back. We need to Sankofa it. Remember it and retrieve it. This is ours. And we're being given a watered down version that's manipulated and changed, that we're supposed to be chasing after some sun savior. And that has not always been. Yeah, the physical sun does save us. It does give that life-giving light. But it's the moon that controls the waters. And because we're 71% water, who has more control? When you're in your house, who has more control? Mom. In certain houses, yeah, we might fear dad if he's around, for those of us that might have had that. Now, I don't take no importance away from the father like I don't take no importance away from the mother. I take no importance away from the son the same way I'm not going to take any of the importance away from the moon. I'm not going to take anything away from the mother. The solar is still nothing without the moon. When we look at all of this, we've been colonized mentally to think that we are evil. Because when you look at everything, it points to we are evil. They got us caught up in the color crayon system, like we don't produce all complexions. Like we don't produce all crayons. They told us that through persecution, they persecuted the women and said it was all in the name of devilishment and Satanism, and now they worship the devil, and they deal with the horned god and all of that. And what did they do? They killed their mothers and took their land. They took their land. So mhm, the game ain't had nothing to do with because she's evil. No, they wanted her land. Their siblings were in Rome, where the Vatican is today. They don't speak about that too much. Everybody knows there's bones and all that in the basement of the Vatican. But when you read into the history of what was there before they set that Rome up, you will find out that there was another Rome before the one that's there now. And the one that was also before that. The seers were all over the planet. They had cults all over the planet. And systematically, they were taken out and called devil worship, Satan worship, Baal worship, Beelzebub, whatever. And if you really get to truly understanding even those names, let me know if you still think they the evil people that they telling you they are. The god of Saturn being El. There's parts in the ancient where El is also female and was a goddess. But we so masculinized in our colonization of our psychological critical thinking that even our critical thinking is colonized. How many of us hear the word God and automatically you think of male? Automatic.
Millions worldwide.
It's a global colonization.
Yeah.
And it was a global wiping out of that ancient knowledge dealing with the Venus cycle, the Earth cycles, the Syrian cycles, and those who retained it, hence the Comedians, the Egyptians, Babylonians. For those who kept it, later on, it became more patriarchal and took away from who she was. Now, in certain cases, it had to take away from who she was in order to hide it, put a male face on it, so that behind closed doors, we can still utilize what we supposed to. So when you look at things like Santeria, Santeria is a Latin, for lack of a better word, aspect of the Yoruban culture. They learned to worship their deities through Christianized saints, but they kept the culture of what it really was. Maroons did the same thing. So yeah, I understand being at war. Sometimes we have to utilize what's at our disposal. Sometimes in order to truly manifest what the mother put down, we got to put a male face on it or give her a son. But for those who know, we know to venerate that female. We understand what the horns are. We understand that that was considered royalty. We understand that that was considered divinity. And we understand that the devil is an illusion, something that was created and colonized to put in our mindset to give us something to fear. Fear who we are. Fear what we are. They talk about burning in hell and all of that. They didn't. They got that from Dante's Inferno. What you picture as hell in your mind, that fire and brimstone and all of that, it's Dante's Inferno. Before that, opera actually existed. No one had an idea, a mental picture of what hell was. Dante's Inferno came out, and all of a sudden the church adapted it, and now that's our vision of hell. Tortures and torments in hell and in the grave, and somebody with a pitchfork. Why did they always use a pitchfork? A trident. Why did they always use a trident? Because when you get into the ancient studies of that, one of the black goddesses, I believe it was also Artemis, a
Artemis,
mermaid. Yeah,
Poseidon.
Poseidon. Poseidon, the Greek god Poseidon. It's parts of the ancients that say he was not even a male. It's places where they say that was originated from a female as well. But we caught up and believe Poseidon, the brother of Zeus. Before there was Greeks, what were they? Etruscans?
Yes. The Romans, for Romans, the Etruscans. Greeks, Minoans.
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 They worshipped a goddess.
They look like us. We're the Etruscans, the Minoans. They look like us.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, there's a book called. I always like to give references. You know me. They by Frank Snowden. The Black Athena. No, not Black Athena. That's Black Athena is Martin Bunnell. Blacks in Antiquity. Blacks in Antiquity.
Ivan Van Sertima, Blacks in Antiquity.
No. That's Frank Snowden.
Frank Snowden?
Yeah, Blacks in Antiquity is Frank Snowden. Look, make sure I'm correct. Blacks in Antiquity, Frank Snowden. There's 100 photos. There's 100 photos in Blacks in Antiquity, and the vases and statues, statuettes. Now the ones that look like what they call white people, the marble one, they are like, just look at them. They're like polished. They're new looking. But the ones that look like us are old. Look like 1,000 years old, or 7, 8, 2 or 3,000 years old. They knock the nose. They chip the nose off. They chip the lips off. Right, and then you had the vases. So so there's 100 actual photos. Blacks in Antiquity, Frank Snowden. Then you have blacks. That's Martin Bunnell. Which is Black Athena. Athena, Volume 1 and 2, Martin Bunnell. There's no photos in those books, but those are very good books too. Very thick books. Black Athena. But I suggest you get Blacks in Antiquity by Frank Snowden, for those who are listening.
Blacks in Antiquity by Frank Snowden.
Yes, S Snow, Snowden, Frank Snowden. Now I want to talk. He alluded, Brother Viserys alluded to the Inquisition against the Moors, where you had in 1285. England and France and Castile, Aragon, Germany launched the Crusades against. Yeah, there we go. Blacks in Antiquity. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, show that people to see that. Blacks in Antiquity. That's the book. That's the cover. There's 100 photos in there. See that? See one side, so you don't see that in the textbooks in schools. You see
Yeah.
vases, you see the vases,
Mm-hmm.
but they only show what? Those that look like Donald Trump.
Yep.
They don't show those on the vases that look like us in the textbooks.
Mm-hmm.
See? So how minds are associated. That's called in international law, it's called culture genocide.
Mm-hmm.
UNESCO refers to that as culture genocide. And that is the lesson that it Viceroy is giving us, a lesson of culture genocide.
And they're
And now,
using their own to do it.
yes.
So blacks in antiquity. I think that one and Ivan Van Sertima, yeah, they got the same title.
I think
Because I
it's
think
called. You sure it's the same title? Blacks.
I almost thought it might be
Blacks and
black women in antiquity.
yeah,
I think
black
that was
women.
Ivan Van Sertima.
Black women in antiquity.
Yeah, that was
Black,
Ivan Van Sertima.
yeah, black women in antiquity is Ivan Van Sertima. And then he also had black women in antiquity. Ivan Van Sertima. I had that book.
So through them colonizing our mind, got us thinking that everything that was natural, everything that was matriarchal, everything that was even patriarchal under the aspect of the matriarch, because in most aspects, the patriarch movement and the way it was pretty much done to remove the mother, it wasn't always so. Because even patriarchy at one time did give adoration. But then later on, in the hands of the wrong people, we got the wiping out of who mother is. Or should I say the trying, the attempt to wipe out who she is. But that's why we're here today. The restoration of the Moabites, the restoration of the matriarch, the restoration of that to accept our nationality of who we are is adoration to our mother. Because then we're able to help and get back through post-millennium of establishing the government that represents her and represents us. We've been told and following the same things for too long. They've been telling us for too long about these male deities without giving veneration to the female. On this plane, on the earth plane, man and woman is needed because the composites of both genders is still a physical nature that still makes one spirit. But that spirit in itself, there is no gender. So if we're trying to reach our higher selves, then we're trying to go beyond gender. Now, I'm not saying all that stuff that's going on today that's not what I'm talking about. But our higher self in its physical form deals with who we are. But in spiritual essence, in the way we live, our culture, and the way we speak. If spells are being casted, they should be spells to enlighten and have us move on. Those should be spells to stop our enemies in their tracks, not to be used on ourselves. You know, I'm a black man. I'm a crayon today. I have no knowledge of my culture. One thing I'm not going to do, My culture has a name. One thing I'm not going to do is sit here. You can't tell me I'm from the lost tribe or nothing, and I need to just put an X there because I ain't got no name. We're not going through that again. We got a name. We got a nation. We got a nationality. The black man is God. No, he ain't. Because an inanimate crayon can't be dead.
You frozen, brother.
You got me?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, you girl, you back now. All right.
They say the black man is God. I say emphatically now, cipher. I'm not a crayon. They say the colored man is the devil. I say emphatically now, cipher. They overturned and made it something that of evil. And then we just want to say, oh, yeah, it's the white man. Nope. That's still colonized thinking. I'm not going to even give them that light.
Yeah, they're English, they're Spaniards, Portuguese,
And
the
Slavic.
Dutch colonized our land, the Portuguese, the Spaniards, the French, England, but white people didn't. I mean, that's not a pedigree, an
Mm-hmm.
ancestry, a lineage, a consanguinity. That's not a name of a, doesn't identify a kingdom or empire or clan or emirate or bailiff. It does. So you say white, it knows England,
Mm-hmm.
it's Spain, it's the Netherlands, the Dutch
Mm-hmm.
Republic, France. It's like
Even
you say,
NATO, that's only America they call themselves that, because if you think about it, what do the Caucasians in Africa call themselves? The Dutch in Africa. They call themselves Africanos.
yeah, the Dutch, yeah,
Yeah,
the
they didn't
Boer.
call themselves, oh, we the white man in Africa. No,
Mm,
they got a name. They're the Dutch.
yeah,
Those
the
who are
Dutch,
born in Africa who are Dutch are called Africanos.
Afrikaners. Yeah.
But they didn't say, oh, yeah, we born in Africa, but we white man. No.
Mm.
America do that, but no. When you get into it, like I said, brothers and sisters, I implore you, I implore you to understand and do the research on the matriarchal societies of the past. I implore you who are Masons or in the Order of the Eastern Star to understand the symbols that you're using. We know the pentagram isn't evil. We know horns aren't evil. We know lunar adoration, because I don't want to say worship, because worship was something that came on later, but they don't understand what adoration is, a difference between adoration and worship. We have reverence for the goddesses. We have reverence for our mother. The same way we supposed to have reverence for our parents. Period.
And let's talk about let's talk about why the reverence though. The reverence, because if you have, all right, so you are the moon, you have the lunar calendar.
Correct.
So there the helical rising of Venus, which is Easter, which is between mid-March and mid-April. And so this society knows about this knowledge, this Venetian calendar. And this
Mm-hmm.
Venetian calendar and that knowledge of tracking the helical rising of Venus was so important
Mm-hmm.
because be able to chart the helical rising of Venus, to know the onset of the raining season, to know when to plant, was so important for your survival. So you would have admiration. Like, oh my goodness, this helical rising of Venus, Easter, Astarte, Esther. That's why. That's why
Mm-hmm.
the admiration. It
The
was not
same with the
out of pure, but it's coming from a knowledge base though. The admiration is from a knowledge base of
exactly.
agriculture and charting and astronomy and charting Sirius the dog star. You know, the admiration of the cross, which is the niometer. The niometer, what they call the cross today, placed in the shaft with notches on it. And
Mm-hmm.
that knowledge of charting the helical rising of Sirius, you know, being able to have meticulous record keeping to knowing when it was a famine, being able to, or good flood, because the soot that rose to the surface, which is high in nutrients, would fertilize the Nile Valley. That it's the knowledge of the calendar and tied to agriculture and timekeeping. You know, that's that's why the admiration. But when that knowledge is suppressed, and you just show the 5-pointed star or the cross or the diameter they call the cross, and people are just worshiping it. The knowledge of the astronomy, the timekeeping, the measurement has been
Mm-hmm.
suppressed.
Mm-hmm.
As this is where our series is alluding to.
That's why adoration was important. But as the brother said, the adoration was based in knowledge. It wasn't just something where they tell us we should fear God. Why? When you got knowledge of it, you know how to have adoration without having to be blindly worshiping. When you have understanding of what it's for, he mentioned the inundation of the Nile. It was so important and deserves so much adoration. And don't forget, the Sirius is called the Star of Isis. And Isis, in her own, in that pantheon over there, is considered the throne. But it was so important for them to remember that helical rising that they made it the coming of the new year. That's their new year. We show adoration to a new year that, well, let's put it like this. We show an adoration to a new year that is still ours, but represented in a different fashion. Because we sit there January 1st every year and, we talk about what we not going to do this coming year. Or you got those who sit there and, they want to drink and party and all of that. That's how they bring in the new year. Okay. So they don't recognize the movement of the sun at that time period of January 1st. It's a reason why that date was shown too, which also revolves around Sirius in a way. So when we looking at January 1st, that's not just an idle date that was chose either. Even though it's not our calendar, they still utilize our days. They still utilize our festivals. The brother schooled me, actually, Sister Picola, I think was a school me, that Thanksgiving is a festival around that time. That's still ours. But they got us running around like, no, that's a European holiday. And, it was against the Turks. And, and then the Pope said this. And yeah, that's all fine and dandy. But guess what? That festival existed before the Pope even put that mandate. It was ours. No, I don't celebrate Christmas. That's that Jesus stuff. No. No, it has to deal with the movement of the sun. It's dealing with tracking from the longest night of the year that we call the solstice to 3 days later. They call it the birth of Jesus. It's a time period that comes around every year. Every year. You take the sun from its lowest point, and after 3 days, and what they call the day the earth stood still, but it wasn't the earth. That's what they called it in the past, the day the earth stood still. It's your winter solstice, your summer solstice. And then when it start to move again, that's Christmas. When the summer solstice, I'm sorry, when you're dealing with the summer and winter solstice in masonry, they'll show it to us, but they don't tell it to us in that fashion. When you start looking at the circumpunk or the circle with the two parallel lines and a dot in the center, know what that is. Them two parallel lines, yeah, that's representing your winter and your summer solstice, but that's not what they teach. They teach us that the compass and the square is Masonic tools, but no, they're elementary school tools. They're tools for measuring. They are not exclusive to Masonry. I had a compass and a square when I was in the 3rd grade. That didn't make me a Mason other than being my mother's son. Why venerate the tools? They're to be utilized. If you're going to look at it from a different perspective or speculative perspective, they look at it speculative. But we very so cannot call the compass and the square the plum. We cannot call that Freemasonic property, Freemasonic symbology. They are older than Masonry.
He's
They've
talking
always.
about older than Mason. He's talking about the orders, these orders. In fact, the orders are mimic of the ancient mystery schools.
Mm-hmm.
So they are the adaptation of the ancient mystery our ancient mystery schools. But though they're not taught ancient mystery school knowledge, ancient
Mm-hmm.
mystery school knowledge is only taught to a few. So I'm talking about the Germatics, Germanic tribes,
Mm-hmm.
the Germanic tribes, you know, and the Franks, and the Germanic tribes. Today called France. That's what they call the Franks, which is
And later the Visigoths, yeah.
the Visigoths and the Ostrogoths.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So we look at these are the ones who took it and utilized it for their fashion and gave us a colonized form of a culture that really stemmed from us. Masonic culture is Moorish culture, revamped, masked over, and veiled. But it's still our culture. Whether you take it, those who demonize it, if you understand what demonization is, that's a tactic. When you understand what a demon is, you look at the ancient words for demon or the etymology of the word demon. That wasn't for something evil. That was for something divine. Angels, devils, whatever. That was considered divine. So what you call a demon, now demon is used to just for negative aspects, something from hell, something evil, something with horns or wings and a tail. But when you truly understand it, they're just distorting what's ours. And they got us believing in one thing. Like I said, don't let your left hand know what your right hand doing. While they got us sitting here looking at the left hand, they really utilizing it with their right hand. And we sitting here looking at the left hand like, ooh, magic. No, It's the illusion. We are who we are, whether you want to call yourself more Hebrew, Israelite. I don't get too much in the names of that. I'm a Moor. That's the nationality that my consanguinity deals with. And yeah, I've checked mine.
What it's been said that one can call him or herself anything, which is not true. Like all right. Now I can say that I'm Senegalese. So I'm Senegalese. All right, I'm Senegalese. By my saying that I'm Senegalese, what does that mean politically? Like
Politically,
but if I'm not Senegalese though, but I'm not Senegalese. So I could call myself anything that I want. I'm French or I'm Dutch. But if I'm not Dutch, now we're talking politically now. So if I'm I'm saying I'm French. That I'm French. So that means I'm claiming to be protected under French sovereignty. Am I? But I can call myself anything I want, though. I can call myself anything I want. Am I protected? Now we're talking political now. Now we're talking political. Now we can play that. We can play all these games we want now. We can play all this. Don't matter what you call yourself. Call yourself anything you want. You can play all the games you want now. Play that game if you want. Play that ignorant game if you want. I'm talking real world. I'm talking international law. I'm talking family and nations. Now we can play the ignorant game all we want. Let's talk real world, family and nations, international law, national constitutions, talking treaties, sovereignties. I'm talking that. But those who just say that, they're not thinking that, though. They're not thinking that.
They're not thinking consanguinity. They're not even thinking of a land that they're attached to.
They're not thinking national sovereignty, national constitution. All right. They're not thinking that you are legally, that if a Senegalese has a legal bond to synagogue. A Senegalese has a legal bond to synagogue, which means that a Senegalese has allegiance to the synagogue government. And that synagogue government has obligations to protect that Senegalese citizen or national, wherever that Senegalese national is in the world. We're talking about a legal relationship now. Play all this game we want now. We're talking about a legal relationship. I'm continuing forward. They don't know nationality. They don't know nationality, my brothers and sisters. They don't know nationality. They don't know nationality. They don't know nationality.
We know that when we still got brothers and sisters running around talk about, I'm part Cherokee and I'm part this and I'm part that. And I'm like, okay, be what you want to be when you figure out, when it get down to the point of who you're going to have allegiance to and what people are protecting you, you'll figure out who you are or who you're not. I can't call myself Senegalese because I'm not from Senegal. My consanguinity is not traced there. I don't have allegiance to that political aspect of government. So I don't have no protection there. So I can't be that. Now, some might say, well, what do Moors got? It's a nationality that's recognized.
Let me explain what Moors got then. Let me answer that question.
Go ahead, brother.
All right. Moors have a mother who is currently in the hospital. Hear me out, conscious Moors. This is for conscious Moors too. Moors have a mother our mother is in the hospital. We have a mother. She's in the hospital though. She's been in a coma for 200 years. Let me just break it down, my brothers and sisters. So right now, Moors don't have protection of their mother. We don't have protection of our mother right now. So I'm gonna keep it real, my brothers and sisters. Come on, conscious Moors. Hear me out, conscious Moors. Hear me out, please. We gotta stop the BS. Conscious Moors, please hear me out. We must stop the BS. We do not have protection of our mother. Why, Abdullah? Because our mother has been in the hospital for over 200 years. She's been in a coma for over 200 years. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to give you the international law connection to what I'm saying. I'm just trying to break it down to everyday people. A coma is a prolonged state of unconsciousness. So I'm going to give you the international law meaning of what I'm talking about. That is called subjugation. Due to subjugation, Spanish, French, Dutch, Portuguese subjugation that led to our temporary collapse or dismemberment of our Moorish statehood. We have not brought our mother out of a coma. We must go to the hospital and revive our mother out of her long state of a coma or absence from the family of nations. We must revive our Moorish statehood. That is called in international law the recovery of lost sovereignty or reversion to sovereignty. That has not happened. There are conscious Moors who are faking the funk. There are conscious Moors who are going around saying we have revived our mother. Now I want y'all to go to the map. Go to a world map. You're going to see United States. As long as you see United States on the world map, a 2015 world map, you see United States here. It means you have not revived, we have not recovered our lost Moorish sovereignty. United States is still exercising territorial sovereignty. United States gained territorial sovereignty over the large landmass from various European colonized conquered states, France, Spain, Great Britain / England. And then you have the United States of Mexico, that Mexico gained from Spain. So talk to me. United States is still exercising territorial sovereignty, which was transferred to them by France through treaty. The treaty becomes the title. The treaty with the United States of Mexico, the treaty with France, the treaty with Spain, the 1818 treaty. They gained control of Florida, East Florida, West Florida. The treaty with France, the Louisiana Purchase Treaty. So they still are subjugating us, United States. So we were already subjugated by France and Spain and Great Britain. We were handed over in a subjugated state. United States forced us into their legal system, an international law that is called the acquisition of nationality through subjugation, whereby a conquering state forced a people of a conquered population into their legal system and thereby place them into a new citizenship framework under the international law application of law known as the acquisition of nationality through subjugation. The same that the United States did with the Hawaiian Native people. The United States subjugated, invaded Hawaii, subjugated Hawaii. Later annexed in 1900. United States do legislation, which is the international law application called the acquisition of nationality through subjugation. Force the subjugated people of the native people of Hawaii into their legal framework, thereby creating a new citizenship status for the native people of Hawaii, known in international law as the acquisition of nationality through subjugation. Come on, my brothers and sisters. We have to. I would say to Israel, maybe I'm too serious. By serious, maybe it might be me, brother. Maybe I'm too serious. Maybe I'm too serious. Maybe I'm too serious with this. I don't have time to play. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm not gonna play. We got a state. We got a national government. We got a state. We cannot pass this down to our children, my brothers and sisters. We cannot pass these misconceptions down to our children. Maybe I'm too serious. It might be me. You know what? It might be me. Maybe I'm too serious. It might be me.
Nah. What was passed down to us, we don't need to pass down to them. Because we've been in this position too long and we've been in this situation too long. They still got everybody duped into believing that, yeah, we've been in slavery for 400 years. Really? No one knows how to count? When we look at everything, this colonization, this colonized way of thinking, all together, brothers walking around talking about, yeah, I'm sovereign. Not without a nation, you're not. And I say it over and over again. How are you sovereign and we're not?
Let me address that, Israel. I mean, by serious, we're sovereign.
Absolutely.
All right. Let me address that. In a national constitution, the people of Russia, the people of Senegal, the people of Spain, the People Republic of China. The word people used in that sense, that structure, as in the people of Senegal, the people of France, the people of Germany, used in the sense of a constitution. It refers to popular sovereignty, which means, what is popular sovereignty, Abdullah? What does the people of France, people of Germany, the people of the Republic of China, what that means is that the collective sovereignty of the people is vested in a national constitution, and that the power belongs to the people, but thereby vested in a national government, vested in a national constitution. That is popular sovereignty when you see the people, we the people of. So when you say, so you have a Senegalese say, I am sovereign. You're a king? That can only be true. That can only be true. Once they say, here we out, my serious. When they say, I am sovereign. Oh, I don't know. You're a king. Because hear me out, my brothers and sisters. The word sovereignty, there are various definitions of sovereignty. The word sovereignty has taken on different definitions over the period of five centuries. All right. When you use I am sovereign, you're using sovereign in the sense of a royal house. You're using sovereign in the sense of that one being of a king or emperor. You're using sovereignty. You're not using in the sense of popular sovereignty. So here we go. I am sovereign versus people, the word people of Senegal. So I am sovereign and people have two different meanings. There's two different references to sovereignty. So you have people referring to popular sovereignty, where the sovereignty relies within the people collectively. When you use people, people of China, people of France, come on, my brother and sister. When you say I am sovereign, then now you're using the word sovereignty in the sense going back a few thousand years, referring to that of a royal house. That means you are a king or a prince or a princess or a emirate or emir, of a royal house. When you say I am sovereign. So remember, there are several definitions of sovereignty. But when you're using sovereignty, when you use the word people, you're using what's called popular sovereignty. I have to teach, my brothers and sisters. I have to teach. There's a lot of misconceptions due to lack of knowledge.
And so usually when I get hit with the question, when they make the statement that I'm sovereign, I ask them, oh, so you're a monarch.
There
You're
you go.
some type of
There
king.
you go. A monarch. Exactly. There you go.
So if you're not a monarch, how are you sovereign? If you're part of a nation, how are you sovereign? You're stating that you're sovereign all by yourself because you got some paperwork in that says you got a UCC1 or whatever the case may be, and you done filed and got some kind of passport that look real cute and it say Moorish on it, and you think that's it, that makes you sovereign. It doesn't.
Not in popular sovereignty. Not in popular sovereignty.
I'll say it. You are not sovereign. Having UCC1, you are not sovereign. Having any of this, you are not sovereign. But continue to think you are. You'll still be in that same position.
We can come out of this, my brothers and sisters, with knowledge. We don't have the knowledge. My brothers and sisters, we don't have the knowledge, my brothers and sisters. They don't have the knowledge. They have misconceptions. Those misconceptions I've heard for 33 years. I taught that. Please, I've raised my hand. I'm part of that. I'm part of that. I admit it. I'm part of teaching that. So blame me too. I'm part of teaching that. I've taught thousands of people that misconceptions. I'm part of that. I'm making amends for it. I've been making amends for the past 6 years. I'm going to make amends. I'm doing all that I can to make amends. I know you can listen to what I did 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I was wrong. I was taught misconceptions too. I got to make amends.
And that's what we're here for. Those who recognize. I've been in the movement for over 20 years now. And I had those same misconceptions. And when it was brought to the light to me, I was stuck. The brother is taking the time to make amends for what he's been teaching for years. You got a lot of people that find out they wrong, and all of a sudden, they drop off the face of the planet. They're not admitting to nothing. They're not conceding to nothing. And they're not trying to help fix the situation that they help put people in. This brother's knowledge, his brother is doing it. He's trying to put it back together. He's making amends for what he taught for years ago. And I'm going to say years ago because he ain't taught that in years. Once he found out, he ain't taught it in years. He brought me out of my misconceptions of what I thought Moorish science was. It's that time, brothers and sisters. We've been doing this too long. We've been falling for the same trick. They just keep changing it, revamping it, putting another name on it. It sounds real cute, but the fact of the matter is the one thing everybody keep running from is nationality. And when you ain't looking at nationality, you ain't looking at consanguinity. If you're not looking at any of this, how can you really think we're going to get back to the top where we belong, as most say? How we going to get back to the top of where we belong if we don't even understand terms like post-millennium? We don't know how to resurrect our mother. Nationality is the order of the day. Restoring the matriarch to her rightful position is the order of the day. Post-millennium is the order of the day. The cycles of the lunar cycle, the symbols that's being used, that's being called devilishment, satanic, that is nothing but the culture that was brought and set forth by those that we call mother, our ancient mothers. We always saw our ancient forefathers. No, our ancient foremothers that set this up, that helped set it up, that they persecuted and killed for this. And hundreds, dare I say, over 1,000 of years later, that knowledge is still here. And we're here to resurrect it back and put it back in its rightful place. The times of falling for the games is over. She'd have been beat down, been called secondary but necessary, or just made to be a servant of some patriarch. With all these patriarchal deities that we utilizing right now, you'll come to find out they were consorts to the mothers. Sankofa, go back, retrieve it, and show adoration, because that's where we came from. That's what we are today. And we need to stand up and show that. We're not here for the tricks of the games no more. Not from Moors who are lacking in knowledge, and not from any pale skins, not from any Slavics, not from any of the Germanic tribes, not from any of our own who are unconscious. We're done. We're done. With that, brothers and sisters, I'm going to say peace. The book, How Her
Man,
Venus and Moon Rule. Please get this book. It will
on my
show you.
website, it's been scrolling across the screen for the past 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Moorsandmasonry.org.
As well as my other books. I greatly appreciate you, brother. Oh, man, you did a wonderful job, man. I was nervous, man. I said, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? I mean, you did, oh, my brother. Whoo, man, you made my night, made my day, man. Brother, thank you, man. You did a wonderful. You gotta come back.
Yeah.
You gotta
I'll
come
make
back.
Brother Hank, I'll make sure that I have my
Well,
whole
next
little
time we're
computer
gonna make
system.
sure make sure we contact Israel ahead of time. But you
Yeah.
gotta come back and do the size tape. But brother, you did a wonderful job, brother. And I know you, because I know you know it. I know. I said, come on, brother. You got it, brother. Oh man, thank you, brother. You did my book justice, man. It just does me so good, man. You gave us more. That's what's in the book. It was great, man. This is a great presentation. Please give the likes. Hit that like button, y'all. Hit that like button right now. All right, let people share the recording. We're about to wind it down. Share the recording. This brother is dynamic. I mean, he's been on 5-6 times already. He did part 1 and part 2 on spirituality, the etymology with the breathing. The brother is an excellent. He's intelligent. He's well spoken. You want to tell us before you close out Israel by Sirius? I don't know why I keep saying Israel, because he's always on with me to help out. That's why. That's why, man.
That's the partner in crime right there.
With your outreach you have with Masons, Needs, and Stars, by Sirius.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much, I still have the For the Love of More 372. out here, as far as my connections with the Masons out here, I'm cool with a bunch of Prince Hall brothers as well as brothers from International Free Accepted Modern Masons. Um, Things are growing out here. These brothers are growing out here, and they've allowed me the time here and there to speak at some of their
And sisters
engagements.
too. Sisters too,
And
right?
sisters too. I apologize, sisters too. Allow me to speak on some of their platforms and even teach on some of their platforms. And I've been invited to their spiritual studies and everything. And they are listening and they are hearing and they're not falling for it either. And as I'm showing them certain things, they are also starting to understand and move it out and take it back to the different places where they're going. So I'm starting to hear a few things from out of state, just from people here that I've dealt with that then talk to people out of state. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a
Tell,
beautiful thing.
tell them
The
about my book
consequence.
too. Tell them about my book out there. Tell them what you've been promoting my book out there.
Yeah, definitely promoting the book, How Our Venus and Moon Rule. I've been promoting that out here for a little over a month now, maybe two.
Mhm.
And it's getting, especially with the Masons and the Eastern Stars, it's getting a good turnout. A lot of brothers and sisters are starting to look into things that they didn't look into before, and they're waking up. They're no longer being, just led blindly. And the book helped with that. That and Masonic Compass and Square, that book actually helps a lot. That helps a lot. So those two books right now are the main ones I push. Moors and Masonry 1 and 2. I've always pushed that. So Prince Hall and most of them, they've already, I gave a book to that Grand Master for Prince Hall out here in the Southern jurisdiction. And he accepted it, and it was a beautiful thing. I've conversated with him on it a couple times, and it lets me know that he's definitely in the book, and he appreciated it.
When is your next speaking engagement with them? My series.
The next one should be, let's see, we're in June. I'm seeking to speak at a conference that they're having in September.
September.
But but I also have I'm trying to get with a sister who I'm trying to solidify now to where I can speak for the Order of the Eastern Star in July.
All right. Yeah, the brother
So
is doing it. He's been he moved out there to a 12, was it 12, 15 years ago.
2010.
15 years ago.
2010.
Because I
Yeah.
remember we were at Dindy's. We were at Dindy's in North Philly.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember he's telling me it was on a Saturday. He said, I'm moving out to Phoenix. And I was like, wow, yep, I remember that. Yep. And
Mm-hmm.
I said, that was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And then when I got the Moors and Masonry part 1 out
Part
done
one. Mm-hmm.
in 2016, I mailed them books. I would mail them 10 at a time.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was first it was the etymology. My etymology books were Spirebind. Remember the Spirebind
Yeah.
etymology book
I still had those.
and
Yeah.
DVDs. You sold DVDs for me. The Illuminati book. The Illuminati book came out before Moors Masonry Part 1. So I sent out the Illuminati book to him, 10 at a time, maybe 20. I think 20 of those at a time. A lot
20.
of DVDs. Moors Masonry Part 1. The Masonic Compass Square. I sent them 20 Venus books about almost 2 months ago. For me.
Yeah. Last
So
month. Yeah.
yep. So he's been pushing my work out there for years. That's Phoenix, and then also the Nevada. He's traveled there as well. So
Yeah.
I greatly appreciate you, brother. And so he's been. We've known each other for 20 years. Help me out,
Yeah.
because I always get it wrong.
2001. 2000. Ever since
25 years. 25 years. See?
yeah.
Yeah,
Ever since the round tables in
born and
Camden.
raised in the same city. We born and raised in the
Yep.
same city.
Camden,
Yep.
New Jersey.
Yep. See? So how we got and we on two opposite, and we doing our thing. How we networking. All right.
Mhm.
Yeah. So the brother is growing in knowledge. He's growing in the proper concepts. It's getting stronger as he is. I'm great to appreciate. Yeah, absolutely. Tell the brother Dante. Brother Dante called me about 10 years ago and asked me, did I know anyone that lives in Phoenix? I said, oh, yeah, my man was serious. So he and Dante's been, cool for 10 years now.
Yeah.
Yep. And Dante's also in the order.
Yeah, Dante's and he's in the order as well. He got a lot of experience. He's been in the order for over 20 years.
And Dante got a lot of large outreach too. Yes, he
Yeah.
does.
And his Moorish knowledge is expanding. And he has an understanding of nationality. When he first came to me, he's like, I don't know what none of this is. Now he has an understanding of nationality and all that. It's funny to watch somebody to actually grow before your eyes.
I love it.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is.
And that brother has shown me he's definitely my brother. So I appreciate him more than anything.
Yeah, and he's pushing the Venus book. In fact, he bought two for a matron, worthy matron, and sister matron.
Yeah, he's my connection to be able to talk to a lot of the brothers and sisters who are in the order out here and in Nevada. So he's definitely stamped up, and he's definitely about his nation.
I wanted my series to talk about that because we can let you know that we are outreaching, we are networking. So I'm just letting you know that this brother's outreaching and networking. He's pushing information. He's serious. He also pushes the videos. He pushes the Moorish Mondays, as well as videos with King Al Bay lessons, so forth. He's also part of the he's a student of our course, the Trust and Contractual Legal Safeguard course, as well as Brother Dante. Brother Dante became recent. Yep. So those we will have the Trust and Contractual Legal Safeguard course available, the recording available. We just finished our 7th class this past Saturday, and so we have 5 more to go, and we'll have it available, the recording available for sale on our website, which is currently being built. So Terrence doesn't want me to get out the website information yet because he's still working on it. So I won't get out the website information yet this time.
I will say this:
under construction.
Being a student in the class, I will say this: things I've learned about trust in the class with King, I have not learned in any other classes.
Oh my, yeah, King is good, man.
Yeah, contractual safeguards and how to actually not just create a trust, but how to manage a trust properly.
Yeah, King is.
And it's so much. It's a wealth of information. I recommend anybody, if you're not in the class, you're gonna want to buy the video because the series in itself is so much. Every class. Every class.
Market it for us, brother. There you go. You got the floor.
I just learned a lot in these past few weeks, and like I said, everybody can teach you what a trust is, and this is what the guarantor and all that. That all sound real, the trustee, and that all sound dandy. But how to actually manage your trust so you don't fall into the pitfalls that most of our brothers and sisters is falling into by starting trust and not knowing what to do with it. King covers all of that. I highly advise you to get the DVDs when they come out.
Thank you for the plug, brother. Yes. All right. So once again, for my book, Our Venus and Moon Rule, Etymology and Vocabulary, Masonic Complement Square, The Connection to Measurement and Timekeeping, Moors and Masonry Part 1, Moors and Masonry Part 2, and Etymology and Vocabulary Part 1, Part 2. Go to moorsandmasonry.org. It's been going across the screen strolling across the street for the past 2.5 hours. Once again, the Human Rights and Nationality Conference. Thanks, Brother Hank, for recording, for live streaming it. It's on this platform, Magnus Crystal Pyramid, 5 hours long. I got almost 800 views. All right, so also Luisa Flores, thank you again for working with me, and we put together the conference. And she was the hostess and mistress of ceremonies of the Moroccan Post School of Government International Law sponsored the conference. Next month is the International Human Rights Summit. All right, so you see our face right there. So we're going to be actually showing the connection there of the Moorish, the Human Rights and Nationality Conference and making that connection to the International Human Rights Summit. So we can bring more awareness. Sister Luisa Flores, with her large international relations and contacts that she has, and my outreach and so forth, and Quasi and so forth, I wanted it's right serious to talk about his network. Right? He's connected with us. Right? So we work, like I said, we're how do we work together? How do we bring just doing, as I said on Saturday, we're trying to do our own thing. But where's that has that gotten us though? We have to begin to work together. And I think a lot of it has to do with Israel. And King El Bay and I talk about this often. It has a lot to do with the misconceptions, means a lack of knowledge. So by presenting the proper concepts, it will strengthen the unity, because it has to start here too. We have to be united here with the proper concepts. That national consciousness, what will facilitate or strengthen the national consciousness, proper concept about our Moorish nationality. All right. So thank you, Brother Hank. I know we're a little over, but I thank you, brother. Thank you Hank was there all day with us on Saturday. Once again, he live streamed it for 5 hours. Greatly appreciate you, Brother Hank. Thank you for offering this platform to me for the past year and a half. Once again, thank you. Check out the Human Rights and Nationality Conference on this platform. It's 5 hours long. Watch it in pieces. I know it's long, but we wanted to broadcast the whole conference. I'm gonna give you the last. You're gonna have closes out. Series closes out.
Yeah, definitely, Brother Hank. I definitely want to thank you for that crystal knowledge you did in between waiting on me to get on. I appreciate that. And brothers and sisters, this is another Moorish Monday. Until next week, which we'll have, I believe, a Seer the Duke of Tears.
Yes, Seer Duke of Tears. Yes, Seer Duke of Tears is my guest. Yes, Seer Duke of Tears. Mm-hmm.
So that'll be the guest next week. I look forward to hearing that brother speak. Until then, brothers and sisters, I say Islam, Veda Makum, Assalamu Alaikum, peace.